The first thing that struck me about this libertarian forum were the arguments of my other debater, the one debating against me, that kept referring to the problem of socialism being that Russian leadership under socialism and Chinese had killed millions of people. I always find this a bizarre way of arguing about economic systems, a kind of a body count approach. But okay, if that's what they want to do, let's make a comparison. Capitalism has been the dominant system for the last 150, 200 years, pretty much around the world. What's its record in terms of the killing of people out of capitalist competition, capitalist enmity, inside countries, across countries? Well, it's way in excess of anything the socialists could claim. Let's start with World Wars I and II. I mean, conservatively, those killed 50 to 100 million people, so we're already in a different league. And those were wars that came out of competition among capitalist countries like Germany, England, the United States, Japan, and so on. So really, are we going to go down that road? Then there's the thing called colonialism and imperialism, in which capitalist countries, mostly in Europe, went around the world killing huge numbers of people to make the whole world useful and profitable to Europe. I mean, why do you think there was a slave trade that basically destroyed Africa for hundreds of years, denuding it of its people? And that was in order to bring those Africans to the Western Hemisphere, first for sugar and then for cotton, which were very profitable commodities capitalists bought and sold. And then there was colonialism everywhere else in the world. First book I ever wrote was an economic study of Britain and Kenya in East Africa. And one of the things I discovered is when the British arrived in 1895, they did a census. 4 million Africans lived in Kenya. 30 years later, they did another census. 2.5 million people lived. In that little country, over that few years, 1.5 million people disappeared. That has to be chalked up to capitalism. So if you're going to go this route of counting the dead, sure, you can make a criticism of Stalin and Mao. They deserve criticism. Killing is not good anywhere. But the idea that you have found a flaw in the capitalism-socialism debate is bizarre. Why would you even go down that road, especially with 5 minutes of reflection showing you it's not good for your side of the argument? Then there was an even stranger kind of thing, very typical, I think, for libertarians. The fellow on the other side argued that he agreed with me that capitalism was full of flaws. I had laid those out, as I do on this program often, and he agreed with me. He said it's so bad he would call it, in his words, crapitalism. Okay, everybody giggled. But then he kept saying to me, yeah, it's terrible, but your socialism is worse. Why? I asked. Well, he answered, because then the government will become very powerful and the government is bad. I said, really? Is the government bad by definition? Are we like talking in religion where God is good and the devil is bad and the world is nicely organized in that way? Is the government necessarily bad? And his basic answer to me was yes. The government ipso facto is bad. And you don't ask why the government does something, apparently among these folks. They don't explain it. It's just sort of given. Government is bad. What government does is unwanted because it's bad. The idea that the government is what it is because of the society in which it exists, that it doesn't come fully finished out of nowhere, but is a product of the society that it's trying to govern, that doesn't seem to have gotten into that. I find that bizarre in the history of the United States, when most observers would agree that both in 1929, when the stock market crashed, and again in 2008, when the stock market crashed, everybody, led by the business community, went to the government to save us. It saved us with the New Deal in the 1930s, and it saved us with the Bush and Obama stimulus programs. Apparently, the government sometimes does good things, so the issue is, why would the government be a necessary bad one?